Good morning and a very warm welcome to the JRC's Ispra site and to this EUCAD 2025 conference. It's organised and hosted by the European Commission with the support of the EU-funded Research and Innovation Action FAME, more from them later, and the European Partnership on CCAM. My name is Katrina Sickle, and I have genuinely the privilege and the pleasure of navigating us all through today's event. It's called, I think it's a good title, Driving into the Future. And during our event, we have a host of eloquent thought leaders from Europe and from beyond who are going to share their insights on, always that double words together, challenges and opportunities surrounding the development and the deployment of CCAM solutions. Now, when I looked at everything that is on offer for all of you, good people here, I thought, well, event doesn't quite do it justice, really, that word for this 5th edition, because aside from 3 main thematic conference sessions, you've got 18 parallel sessions across the 3 days. And if that's not enough, there is also a fabulous exhibition, which opens later. Okay, but I've been around it this morning. It's cool. And there are static and live demonstrations where you can actually test ride the automated vehicles on display. Do not all rush at once, okay? So I think we've got a map, might be coming up later to show you where all of that is taking place. So please do make time for the exhibition and the demos. You're out of the office, you're in this beautiful place. There are people who stand at those stands all day and they want you to come and talk to them. So please make sure that you use this event to best effect. Now let me just see broadly who you are. Where are our researchers? Where are academics? Where are our brain boffins, as I call them? Who considers themselves extremely clever? Literally 2 people in the room. That's really dismal. Okay, can we say, is there any regional or local authorities in the room? Any municipalities? Everybody is in the back row. You knew. Road operators. Okay, do we also have industry? Who's here from all different? Nice, you are nicely scattered across. Who else? Public transport providers. That's why you sat in the front row, that lady. All right, I see you there. Oh, regulators. Okay, I've missed lots of people. What about policymakers? EU policymakers, member state policymakers, any policymakers? And of course, predominantly in the middle, they're sitting. Voila, we see that. Who is here from the States? Anybody here from the States? From the United States? I love that. Your hand, right? Yes, I love that. Anybody here from Japan? And from South Korea? Like that little wave. And from Europe? From the EU? Always a good sign. Thank you so much for playing ball. Now, just one thing. Turn to the person on your right or left and tell them who you are. Very quickly, introduce yourself. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Jesus, you know, when I open that box, it's a very, very difficult box to shut. All right, thank you so much. Okay, that's the last time you'll speak in 2 hours. No, I jest. All right, before I invite the first of our opening speakers to the stage, I have to do a little bit of housekeeping, okay? So, as I said, a little bit rapidly, the next 2 hours. Next 2 hours are in here. We have our plenary sessions, okay? We've got a couple of great discussions. I will endeavour in the second to take a couple of questions, but we really are going to be rocking and rolling with the content, where you get to be more interactive, so to speak, to raise your voices more is in the parallel sessions, but your moderators for those will get you onto an interactive app like Slido or Mentimeter, or they will endeavour to create that interactivity in another way. Okay, so that's mostly where you'll get to raise your voices. And of course, there is a bazillion opportunities to network. Discussions close with a flourish at 17:40. Okay, we're all going to meet for some very illustrious ribbon cutting, so we can open the exhibition and the demonstrations. Okay, so that's the symbolic moment where you get to see those. And also we're going to have much later at 19:30, we're going to have the reception and some food. Those are the top lines. Apart from that, please note, photos and videos, very importantly, are allowed inside the conference centre, but not outside. Okay, why? Because official and authorised photographer pictures are going to be shared daily, not straight away, but at the end of the day, on a dedicated link on the website. So please, photographs, they will come. Likewise, the slides. You don't have to keep popping up taking pictures of slides, all right? They will also be available afterwards, certainly not in plenary. They will be available after the event. And then I'm supposed to give you a pre-reminder, because we don't all get back together after the parallels, that you will get a survey, a satisfaction survey. So if you want to create an event that really speaks to you in the future, you really need to fill that survey out. Okay, please do complete it. Apart from that, you'll get a proceedings report, just in case you suddenly decide to blip out and not listen, but you want to know what's gone on. You will get a proceedings report after the event. And guess what? The live stream recording. So the live stream recording is also available afterwards if you should have missed something. Hurrah! Are we good to go? Done all the housekeeping. Are we good? Who is happy to be here? Good. Excellent. Who is prepared to not look at their phone once in the next 2 hours? Shame on you if you aren't able to do that. All right, let's now settle in and get into the topic itself. Let's take just a moment to watch a short video clip by the CCAM Partnership. It explains, for those of you who might still be not so much in the know, what CCAM is all about and how it's being addressed at European level. So let's hopefully have that video now. Chat amongst yourselves while we make it work. And I can tell you it's an animation, and you can use it more widely because it can be. I'm not going to wait for it to start. You are welcome to use it and share it more widely because it can be translated into different languages of the EU. So let's just see. I will take a sign from our lovely lady at the back. If it's going to be a goer. No, I know you don't have much authority there, do you, Julie? Because the technicians are in another box the other side. There we go. I think it's coming. I think they're all cursing in that technical box. Where's the video?
Think of the busiest junction you know. And now imagine it as a breathable space shared by everyone. Imagine getting about easily and safely, whatever your situation or destination. It's not a distant dream. The mobility revolution has already begun. Connected, cooperative and automated mobility, CCAM in short, opens new ways to move from here to there. Automated shuttles and shared cars offer new, seamless and affordable transport solutions for everyone. Groceries and other essentials could be taken to remote locations using automated delivery vehicles. By lowering the risk of human error and improving traffic flows, automated vehicles make long-distance trips safer, faster, and more energy efficient. For goods transportation, automation helps tackle driver shortages, reducing costs while supporting the green transition. Reaping these many benefits will take more than just technology. We need collaboration on all levels, between researchers, policymakers, industry, service providers, and communities, so that innovation is developed and deployed in ways that benefit us all. The CCAM Partnership was created to make this a reality for Europe, aligned with its values and based on local technology. It helps ensure that cutting-edge research is turned into real-world solutions. Together, we can lead Europe into a new era of mobility, safer, greener, and tailored to our diverse needs. Join us now in shaping Europe's mobility revolution.
Great. So you are going to hear more about the CCAM partnership, not straight away, but in a little while in this plenary session. And I always think, you know, that video and its beautiful coloured animation, it looks so delightfully easy, doesn't it? And all of you actors in the room know how much work and collaboration it takes to get there. But enough from me. Matthias Earl has been so patient. He is Deputy Director-General, Acting, and Director for Societal Resilience and Security, DG Joint Research Centre, the European Commission. It is for you to welcome all these good people officially. Here we go. The podium is yours. Thank you. A warm welcome, please.
So I warn you, now it's getting officially. Good morning to all of you, and I welcome our guest speakers, our keynote speakers, dear Mr. Langemeyer, dear Marc Lemaitre, dear Ms. Nielsen Skovgaard, and dear Mr. Romano. It is a real pleasure for me to welcome you all to the Ispra site of the European Commission's Joint Research Centre for the 5th edition of the CCAM conference. And maybe let me give you in the beginning, for those who are the first time here at the Lago Maggiore, some information on our site. Ispra is the 3rd largest site of the European Commission, after Brussels and Luxembourg, and it's the biggest site of the JRC, who is situated on 6 different places in Europe. We are hosting here in Ispra more than 2,000 employees and welcome thousands of visitors every year. A word on history: the site was already transferred to the European Economic Communities 2 years after the signature of the Treaty of Rome in 1957, and before it was hosting the Italian Committee for Nuclear Energy. Over the years, the scope of the research activities hosted here have increased significantly. They started from the inclusion of the non-nuclear research on topics related to safety and the environment. And today the mission of the JRC is to provide independent, evidence-based knowledge and science supporting EU policy to positively impact society. So our motto in the JRC is we do science for policy, to allow policymakers to have an evidence-based approach when taking decisions. And in this spirit, during the last 20 years, the research carried out by the JRC in Ispra has supported several key policy initiatives of the European Commission related to road transport. And that's why you are here. Let me maybe give you some examples. First, the establishment of European pollutant and CO2 emission standards for road vehicles. Second, the development of international regulations for the performance of electric vehicles. Third, the setup of public key infrastructure for allowing the secure communications between vehicles and infrastructure. And last, but certainly not least, the development of the first worldwide international regulations on the performance of automated driving systems. I think this is an impressive list. In the past years, the Ispra site has even become a living lab for testing innovative mobility solutions, such as automated vehicles, drones, and smart charging systems for electric vehicles. And for these reasons, I believe that the JRC is a great place to host this 5th EUCAD conference. And ladies and gentlemen, there is another reason why the site is excellently suited to host this conference. The longest Formula One course is the one in Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and it has a length of 7 kilometers. We have inside the site 35 kilometers, so please enjoy the driving later on. And I understand this conference is the first, not only the first one outside Brussels, but it's also the first one where you have the opportunity of dynamic driving, to test dynamic driving. Finally, the role as a host also underlines the JRC's ambition to play a leading role in supporting the work of the European Commission in this fascinating field. Automated driving will pave the way in the of road transport, and we have seen that in the video. It will make it safer, more efficient, and more sustainable. And your work, whether you represent industry or whether you represent the public sector, your work is absolutely crucial to help Europe to be at the forefront in this field and to harvest all the opportunities that connected and automatic mobility brings to our society. And in this spirit, I wish you all a fruitful conference, fruitful discussions, and hope that this conference will contribute to advance our work on automative driving. Enjoy your stay, enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that competitive kilometre syndrome, I call it there. That's what I'm going to invent that for you. But fantastic. But yes, do take advantage of this site. All right, let's move directly into our opening session. We have 4 speakers. They represent all sorts of different corners of this extremely compelling ecosystem. Now, first of all, they're going to take just 5 minutes, no more, if I might prevail upon you, good people, to address you. Okay, for some top lines, and then they're going to sit together and together discuss strategic perspectives on the current state of CCAM. We're going to look at the policy priorities, industry advancements, of course, the role of public-private collaboration in accelerating deployment, of course, research and innovation, the importance of where and how it fits in, technological integration, and, as you all know, the right regulatory frameworks to support Europe's commitment to safe, to smart, and critically, and of course, you can learn all about that in the exhibition, Inclusive Mobility Solutions. So, first to the stage, you've got to set the bar high in terms of being beautifully concise. We're going to give a very warm welcome in just a moment to Pier Francesco Maran, who is a member of the European Parliament, Group of the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats. He serves on 2 committees, Internal Market, Consumer Protection, Employment and Social Affairs. He's coming now, but previously city councillor, I don't know if you guess, in Milan for 13 years. So he's a bit of a whiz on mobility, urban planning, housing. You're the right person to start, I think.
Yes.
There you go. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Well, first, as I can tell you also welcome in Lombardy, and hope you will enjoy your time here. I really love the enthusiasm of our moderator, even because we are talking about a revolution here. I think this is probably the innovation that can change our mobility, our public space, our future. And we are not talking about it as much as it needed. To realize a revolution, we need people. And we should be aware that at the moment, people, they really don't understand that it's happening, and it will happen. Neither normal citizens and legislators too. So we have big efforts to demonstrate we can do it, and it will change, and it will change not in decades, but in years. We need people even because we saw that other changes have been rejected by citizens. Mm-hmm. I was really enthusiastic even about electric scooter. But when they become reality, in a few months they had lots of accidents, and citizens were against. Cities like Paris banned public scooters to go around. So we need to go step by step to include citizens, demonstrate them that it's not dangerous, and we know it's not dangerous, so they have less accidents compared to normal drivers, and it's a big opportunity. I think that is why, and honestly, it's not a problem of European legislator, we have an approach step by step on rules. We are quite good on making rules, so it's not a problem. But we need also to increase our effort to see new vehicles on streets. I will host an event at the European Parliament on the 2nd of July. Everybody is welcome, and I'm also here to listen to researchers, to companies, to understand, even working together with the Commission on which direction we can push. As far as I understood, we need to get it simpler, to have tests, to have a way to approve that is not only national, but okay, it's national, but it can be adopted in all of the European framework easily. And this is a first step, because we need driverless cars going around in our streets, and not to be surprised if we see. It's fantastic when we announce we have one car experimenting, 5 cars, but we know we have to run a little faster because Asia and the United States are going faster. So I think that if we work together, we can have an easier framework, we can experiment more, and we can start to live this revolution. That is, will change our city, will change even citizens' rights, the right to mobility. And so this is why we should do it faster and better and together. Thank you.
Probably 1, 2. Yeah, I think they're perfect. Thank you. I hope we're giving you a decent experience for those of you who are with us online. And our first panelist has indeed set the bar high. Thank you for being so concise. That's great. Now, who follows? Another illustrious speaker. We have Marc Lemaitre, who is the Director-General, of course, for DG Research and Innovation at the European Commission, actually formerly at DG Regio and previously Head of Cabinets for different commissioners, budgets, regional policy. So again, someone coming with a kind of a really holistic view, having worked in all kinds of different arenas. Let's see what, Marc, you have to say. You know, there's a revolution coming, but are we talking about it enough? I don't know. Warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Katrina, for your kind introductory words. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be in front of such a well-filled room and also such a diverse room, talking about, no doubt, geographies, but talking about the functions of each and everyone. And I think that this is the recipe for eventual success here in Europe around CCAM. We have industry, we have road operators, indeed, we have public authorities, we have researchers, and we need you absolutely all. We stand, I believe, at a critical moment for the future of Europe's mobility industry at large. The shift towards connected, cooperative, and automated mobility is no longer a vision. It is happening now, shaped by rapid technological progress and societal demand. But it is not happening sufficiently in Europe. A couple of months ago, the Commission adopted the Automotive Action Plan. This action plan recognizes the central role of the automotive sector in Europe's economy and addresses 3 key disruptive trends. And I stress the term disruptive because this is a word which in Europe we don't have enough in our minds, that we live in times of disruption and we need to embrace disruption. So these 3 disruptive trends are electrification, digitalization, and automation. Among these, CCAM stands out as the most multidimensional. It spans not only vehicle technologies, but also infrastructure, data, regulation, and public services. To remain globally competitive, especially against fast developments in North America and Asia, we must accelerate CCAM deployment in ways that are interoperable, inclusive, safe, and market-ready. In this race, public and private research and innovation investment is a potent fuel, and they need to work together. That's why under Horizon Europe, we launched a public-private CCAM partnership in 2021. It now brings together over 200 stakeholders from industry, academia, public authorities, all working towards a shared mission. Since its launch, we've funded 36 projects covering the full innovation chain, from foundational AI and scenario-based testing to large-scale pilots and user acceptance studies. Most of these projects are here today on display in the exhibition area, where the ribbon still needs to be cut, right? If I understood correctly. I am just as eager as you to visit these stands, so I might not wait for the ribbon cutting and just go there. But let me highlight a few of those projects. In public transport, we can visit a project that is trialing automated vehicles in real urban settings in Germany, Norway, and Switzerland. In logistics, we are testing autonomous freight transportation across highways and terminals in a corridor ranging from Rotterdam to Oslo. And third, a key milestone ahead is the finalization of a European common evaluation methodology, a tool that will provide consistent, comparable, and reliable assessments of CCAM technologies across the EU. We hope it can become a global benchmark. Taken together, these projects contribute to a larger ecosystem, building a solid foundation of knowledge, trust, essential, and technical capacity for Europe. However, the next urgent step is clear. We must move from demonstrating technologies to demonstrating services at scale across regions and use cases. This means first transitioning from local pilots to coordinated deployment testbeds that effectively build on all the knowledge and experience that has been gathered over the years through the precious research projects. Second, showing the real-world value of CCAM to commuters, logistics, and cities. And third, integrating research and innovation outcomes with deployment, infrastructure planning, and data governance. So this is clearly not just a research issue. It is a strategic industrial policy objective. But rest assured, we will stay the course on research and innovation efforts, also in the Horizon Europe Work Programme 2025 and also in the coming years. For some topics, the calls opened now on 6th of May, and others will follow in September. So please feel free to explore these new funding opportunities. By way of conclusion, I would say that Europe has all it takes to show industrial, technological, and societal leadership for the transformation, and I would agree with those who used the term revolution, for the revolution of mobility through CCAM. What is required now is coordination between all relevant actors, determination, an embrace of disruption, and speed. Let's make it happen all together, and I wish us all very, very stimulating debates. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So who would agree with that? Who would agree that we need speed? Hands up. And for whom does the word disruption resonate? Okay, so you please, yeah, you sort of pleased about a third of the people in the room, Mark, with your speech there. No, absolutely, and we will hear about. Thank you very much for bringing up this European Common Evaluation Methodology, because we are indeed going to hear more about that at the start of the next panel. So let's move from that EU level and let's bring it down, not just to member state level, but to public authority level. So I'm very, very delighted to welcome next Susanne Nielsen Skovgaard, who is Senior Advisor to the Chief Executive at the Swedish Transport Administration. So again, very, very diverse portfolio. She's shapes strategic direction. There's also international relations, so you've got all of that going on, very complex, and guiding both national and international initiatives in transport policy, but also the research side, and the one word that hasn't come up yet, but will, standardization. I think that's also your baby, isn't it? So please, a very warm welcome to you. Please join us. Thank you.
Good morning. We are living in a time of transition with huge challenges, but also exciting opportunities. Across Europe, our transport systems are increasing under pressure. Now more than ever, we need to move goods and people safe, sustainable, and efficient. In this context, CCAM is not just an opportunity for the future. It is a necessity for today. My name is Susanne Skovgaard, and I'm working at the Swedish Transport Administration as a senior advisor. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to open this important conference in beautiful Ispra. As a public authority, we have a critical role to play. We are not just watching change happening, we are shaping it. We are the enablers, the ones creating the condition for innovation to thrive. And that means much more than just funding projects. It means making the legal framework, the infrastructure, and the public trusts are all in place, so that new technologies can move from pilot projects, from concept to country-wide impact. At the Swedish Transport Administration, we are right now working with our long-term national plan. The research and innovation is in the heart of it. And CCAM is not just something that we discuss. It is something that we actively invest in. So let me share some examples from what we are doing in CCAM in Sweden. In the rural part of Sweden, we are trying and preparing for a self-driving bus in harsh winter weather, exploring its potential to address mobility challenges in areas where mobility are limited. In our cities and ports, we have connected and automated trucks that helps us to improve safety and reduce congestions. And through cooperative traffic management, we are exploring its potential to use real-time data from vehicles and infrastructure to reduce congestion and improve safety on our roads. And these aren't just tech demos. They are steps towards smarter eco-mobility, where vehicles, infrastructure are all connected and working together. But to unlock the potential of CCAM, we must see beyond borders, because automated vehicles won't stop at the border and the custom. And neither should our rules and ambitions. And that's why cross-border cooperations and harmonization are so important. The CCAM Association provides us with a shared, coherent innovation plan. We all have our national research and innovation plans, but together we have a European vision. And this is the power of Europe. Working together across borders, across countries and disciplines, that makes us stronger, smarter, and more efficient and successful. So I am so proud of what we are building together. I'm deeply inspired what is going on across the CCAM community. And I'm confident that we together can make the transport system even smarter, efficient, and sustainable. So thank you for your attention. and I wish you all a successful and fruitful week here in Ispra at this important conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I speak with a lot of passion that is quite what we say in English, woo, headless chicken. You have equal passion, but you deliver it just so much more elegantly. But what a lovely, it's sometimes quite rare to hear that's the power of Europe. And I always get quite pleased. You say, come on, there is this framework, there is this guidance you called a vision. And therefore, please don't forget that at member state level and in all of those different stakeholder corners that are all critical to making this a reality, we've got to come together under that, use it. Thank you very much, and also for the examples you gave, which are critically important in terms of accelerating, boosting public acceptance. All right, the last of these opening speakers, and then we will move into a discussion with them, is Nino Romano. He is a CTO and head of automotive operations and technology at Continental, where since 1993 there, but also prior, he is a bit of a whiz and has focused on research, development and quality management. But in his new role at Continental, he is responsible for integrating the technology and operations areas of Continental's automotive group sector. So a very, very warm welcome, please, to Nino.
Good morning to everyone. Of course, a pleasure for me, CTO, since a couple of weeks. And one of the most important speech here is in Italy, of course, Nino Romano, as you can make your math yourself. I'm Italian also, living since years in Germany. But again, it's an honor to be here and talking to you. CCAM, talking about autonomous driving. And there's a good part of it, starting first. Please take a time and reflect what is happening worldwide. I'm coming out of the impression of the Shanghai Automotive Show and also a visit to India. We have to admit there's reality, guys. Autonomous taxi driving is a kind of standard in Shanghai. You can pick it up and live it. You can see the power during the fair, how autonomous driving is getting in the society. It's there, you can touch and feel it. It's not yesterday, it's not a test, it's there. That should inspire us. That is really a message that I would like to bring over, is doable. So it's not a dream, it's something that we have to proceed today. And we as Conti, as perhaps was visible in the press releases, we're working with a partner in North America, with Aurora, and we're really proud. You can see this in videos in the press. Since May, the vehicle are driving from Houston to Las Vegas, autonomous, L4, without any driver. So also there, guys, is visible. It's there, we can do that. We can put L4 autonomous driving in the market. I will come to Europe, of course. And why, if you ask, why did you, as Continental, take the choice to drive those things first in North America? Of course, so first of all, the business is huge. Looking to our partner in North America, to our guests, they are supporting with regulation. It's, of course, much easier to drive business over there. And, of course, the size of the truck market is in a dimension that is, of course, inviting industry to cooperate. That is basically the main reason why we are starting over there. But as heard from Mark, we have also initiative, test example here in Europe, that we have to reinforce. That's my clear message. We have to reinforce, we get up to speed. Clear message also from my side, is not about competing. To Asia, to North America, is to share the competencies, to share the opportunity, see what is visible, what is doable, pick them up, and introduce this also here in Europe. And I can only compliment and agree 200% to Mark's statement. All the competency that we need, the base, the framework is existing here. We have it here in this room. Therefore, please also would like to give us the opportunity to reflect a second what is our contribution of the single person to put the experience on the table, to make the happen. And of course, I was talking also to Mark. What's about regulation? What can we do to be faster? How to be disruptive? Absolutely yes. Giving up on things that where we're feeling comfortable with. Starting with new things, that is really where I can only, again, 200% agree on Mark's statement. And that's opportunity talk here. Share the partnership, share what you have in mind. It's not about industry and Brussels and transportation. It's about this team working together. Thinking about how can we use software-defined vehicles? How can we use artificial intelligence, not one by one, but as a team to get these things done? And I tell you, you can see this very easily in Shanghai. AI is the breakthrough for autonomous driving. Let's reflect as a team here the next couple of days. What can we do to reinforce this one? So what is really fantastic, we have everything that we need. The market is showing us that this is functioning. The industry, I was talking also to a couple of guys coming from Europe, they are pushing the same direction. I don't need any contradictory thinking how we should move forward. Everybody is saying the same statement. So the willingness to move together in one direction is given. Let's pick it up, the opportunity there, the capacity there. That's why I was choosing this event to start with. Really exciting, looking forward what is happening. I wish you guys the collaboration spirit, the power, speed and disruption, again, is the one thing. Pick it up, use these 2 days, and enjoy this day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Look, this is just a quick question I'm slipping in, but I'm going to give you 3 sentences to answer it. I think every single person in this room would not agree more. You've got to share. Competing isn't about competition, and everyone getting a slice of a bigger pie is about sharing. But why aren't we? 3 sentences to answer that one. Go. The time starts now. Why aren't we sharing more?
Yeah, starting with that. Again, to me, it's a kind of legacy, if you will. And it's a good part, if you will. It's about legacy. It's about prideness to what we was able to reach in the industry and as Europe in the last years. And therefore, really to reflect, I have to repeat, sorry, this disruption, saying we did a fantastic job in the past. But we have to give up on legacy. We have to give up perhaps on how we are working today and moving to new frontier. That is one of the elements that we have, point number 1. Point number 2, we as a team has to put clear statement what we need to move forward. Don't wait for the neighbor to fix the regulation. Don't wait for the neighbor to put technology. Work together. There is no chicken and egg. That is the second one. And the third is all about speed. We in Europe need to take example left and right what it's about speed. Reflecting much faster what we have to do and perhaps break down this year-by-year evaluation, 3-year by 3-year evaluation, and perhaps, Mark, we've discussed this, reflect every week, is that what we're doing right? And change the speed, be disruptive. This, to me, are the 3 elements that is making the difference.
That was an Italian 3 sentences answer, wasn't it? Even if you've got a bit of German. Okay, we need speed, we need clarity of purpose, we need a paradigm shift. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just have a quick chat with these good people to unpack a little bit some of their key points that they made in the opening. Now, it's a bit awkward for you here and eventually for you there, because I'd like to go down there to be able to eyeball them. So I'm sorry you're going to get my back. I hope you feel my warm vibes coming out of it, but you might need to also have a look at the screen. All right, so I'm going to switch. That wasn't on. There we go. I'm going to switch that off. And I hope for the online audience you're going to catch me here. Let me just take my questions. All right, I'm actually ladies first. Absolutely ladies first. Plus you're wearing the brightest colours. Okay, so for beautifully concise answer, as I say, hello, I still see you. You said there, right in your speech, you called public authorities enablers, and not just in terms of funding. So if you had to pinpoint some clear ways, just a couple of examples of how public authorities can do their bit specifically in facilitating the large-scale deployment of CCAM across regions, and you also talked about cross-border, what is your unique role there?
The public authority has a critical role to play, and we have to take the responsibility to have the legal framework and the infrastructure in place so that you can do these large-scale demonstrations. And to do this, I think we have to work together with other agencies and authorities, but also the industry. But in Sweden, for example, we have a close collaboration together with Transportstyrelsen. It is the agency for transport, so that we can have the legal framework and the standardization in place. I think that is a crucial role to play, that we have this in place.
And that is also obviously because I would be a bazillionaire now for all the times at every event I do that I hear the word, we must collaborate better to get it done. And I couldn't agree more. But is there an inherent desire to collaborate? Because you say it's really important to have those different partners in this process. If you as public authorities can properly do your job. Is there an appetite for that in Sweden?
Yes, it is, absolutely. We are talking a lot about that we need to have the deployment of the research and innovation, not just funding project, but also seeing that it have impact on the society. So,
yeah. And is there any example of where this large-scale deployment is happening in Sweden?
Yes,
just perhaps one for the audience.
Yes, we are a part of the MODI, for example, but we also have this that we are prepare in the northern part of Sweden with an electric automated bus. And that is, for example, one example.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to, just because I've heard from you momentarily, I'm going to jump to Mark. If you can kindly just switch your mic off, I think the cameras work like that, and I'll come to Mark. Again, you talked yourself that we've got to embrace disruption. Speed is probably the word that's come up the most thus far. So 3 ways in which, and particularly either at EU level or otherwise, we can really accelerate the transition from R&I, where we're pretty damn strong, but to deployment and getting there. What do you think is missing still that you think where we need to put a focus of our energies?
Well, to me, the key term would be coordination, because we are talking here about a system change. And if you want to make a system change happen, you need 4 stars to align. And it goes, in our specific case here, from infrastructure investments, which will be partially funded publicly, no doubt. Yeah. It goes through regulation as well, no doubt. And as we are talking about novel technologies, we need to think also about how we can coordinate in Europe, as it is very fragmented between our member states, about public procurement of the innovation type. So if you think that, here probably many cities in Europe will be thinking about the potential of automated mobility in the cities or rural areas, for that matter. And a lot can happen through them providing the public demand, basically, for it. But it would be so much more potent if it is coordinated also among them. So to me, the key term here is coordination. Not to mention, of course, coordination in the research efforts that are, I think, embodied in this room through our specific CCAM partnership, but which can, I'm sure, get better. Get better because the ones we don't have sufficiently in the room are the member states' authorities. Yes. They are also spending money on that type of research, but they do it separately from us. Not good.
Just while the mic is open, and again, you know the drill because I've moderated with you before, for beautifully concise answer, just being, I think a question that everybody would want to ask. This technology changes all the time. This is, of all the things I moderate, this is so freaking complex. It's astounding. It's a moment in history that's being created here. The EU, we know, isn't a setup, legislatively speaking and otherwise, structurally, like the countries you mentioned, like other areas of the world. Do you feel that the EU is able to kind of be flexible enough to cope with the speed of the technology changes, to create a legislation that is agile enough to support this deployment with things happening so fast?
It has to. And I think this is, this is a bit of a moment of truth. There is some tale also in the recent history of our automotive industry in Europe. I think they are an example of what can happen and what can happen fast if you are in a mindset of incremental innovation based on your past trajectory. I think this is what Nino meant when he was talking about us being perhaps attached to our proud past, yes, our proud industrial past, which was all about engineering prowess, ultimately. But now we see that we are moving, and so fast, to software prowess and to artificial intelligence. Again, Nino referred to that. And this is why I was emphasizing so much that we need to embrace disruption. We need to be ready to move on from our proud past in order to build a proud future. And I think that in Europe, we have come to the point where we have realized, on the basis of such experiences, that we really need to shift gears very, very fast, and that we will not succeed, even if we push down on the accelerator, if we don't think and act together within Europe, because no one has the scale which is required.
Thank you, which takes me nicely. I'm going to stick with that whole theme there, if I can come back to you, Pier Francesco. So you said two things, I will quote from your opening. Can you switch off that? Perfect. EU, and then I think there was a little bit of a chuckle in the room, the EU is quite good at making rules. You said that. And you also said Asia and the US are moving faster. So just 2 or 3 thoughts and what Europe can do to close that gap, really.
Yeah, well, first, I agree that the approach is not competitive, but we should work together. Probably we will use American technologies, Chinese technologies, and they will use European ones. But on the other hand, somebody is lucky to go to Shanghai or to San Francisco and see that there is a future, and maybe he come back frustrated, why not here? On the other hand, most of the Europeans, they don't go to San Francisco or Shanghai, and they don't see there is something new. So the first thing we should do is to open our street. We need to touch the innovation. It's complicated because we have the European framework, every national framework. Some nations got very good rules, Sweden, Germany, they made an excellent work. But on the other hand, many companies say, okay, but let's wait to see if it will work on all the 27 states. I can't have a test in every country, in every single European country. We need to go up together our research. We have fantastic small researchers here, small project announcement. We have 1 car driving around, fantastic. But we have in another scale in other continents. So I think we should have an idea in the next 6 months. What can we do as a European legislator to move to overcome 1,000 cars going around in Europe? That is important, because if we don't touch, we don't trust it's happening, and it's a matter also of investors, it's a matter of citizens, it's a matter of my colleague legislators, that they are always talking about electric vehicles, important, but not about software technology, AI in cars, that in my opinion is the real part of the revolution.
So more visibility, but you need to have stuff to show to have that more visibility. But you think that is crucial because people need to know, they need to have that sense of what's going on, and they need to really, as you say, I need to see it. I mean, this has been a theme in any case because it also plays into we use the words public acceptance. Okay, we have but 10 minutes, so I'm going to come to you for that first question, Nino, because let's just stick for a moment with those kinds of barriers, how we feel we can accelerate, and then let's focus perhaps a little bit more here and there on what we're calling public expectations, public acceptance, that has so many different facets. But back to you in industry, a couple of the barriers that you still see, particularly if I use the word scaling CCAM technologies from the manufacturing and the operational standpoint. Where are you feeling the squeeze that doesn't let you?
Please accept my apologies if I'm coming to the point what it is. It's not a question of technology. We have the technology in place. If somebody's thinking we are behind in terms of thought, innovation power, that is not the case. Of this, I'm totally convinced. We have there. What we have to decide, and that can be done by the industry, and of course there are organizations, I mean, talking just about the VDA, CLEPA, and the organization moving toward this one. The only topic where I would like to reinforce this team here, to jump out of this, let me say, frame in which we're in, you was using, Mark, the word of coordinating. This is the word that I would like to convert in taking the lead. If we guys are not taking the lead toward a clear target, then we're keeping coordinating. And that is not bad, because we're sharing innovation, we're sharing thoughts, we're sharing news, we're sharing things, but we are not moving together to a clear target that we would like to reach. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, our obligation is to define the target as a team we would like to reach, and then pull down whatever is in front of us. And of course, could be regulation, could be investment, could be whatever it is. But start really thinking, and that again, what I'm standing for as CDO, putting the problem, putting the target on the table, and then looking forward what is needed to get this down. And that, coming back to your question, is what we need to get out of our today frame.
Yeah, but how do you, sorry, just very briefly,
Sure.
how do you orchestrate with such a plethora of stakeholders across so many member states in so many different corners of this incredible value chain? How do you get to specify and define what that is?
Just an example, of course, and I also agree with Mark, we cannot do this with, 500 people sitting here. But if I would ask for volunteer, 10 of you guys that saying, I'm setting the target, what we would like to reach by end of September, I'm totally convinced we will get 10 people that are trusted by the rest of the team setting this target. That's simple.
For whom does that resonate?
10. I need the 10.
For whom does that yeah.
And not coordinating, taking the lead and responsibility. That is all about.
Who will stand with Nino? That's my question. You will. For whom does that resonate? That you feel that that's missed, that kind of target, that definition of what we want, that focus. For whom does that resonate? What Nino has said. That's what's missing. Okay.
I would be more curious what it resonates for the others.
Yeah, I would. Well, because we have so little time, I can't do that. But I hope you will unpack. Are you going to be around today?
I will.
Okay, please go and tell him. If you don't, if it didn't resonate, please tell him what does. I think that's important. Okay, let's just, in the time we have, look at this again, public expectations, because there's many, aren't there, around trust, around understanding, around safety, around trust of AI, many. So what do you see? What's your experience, in aligning public expectations with all of that technological innovation? Where do you see those kind of pain points for the public and where work needs to be done?
I think it's crucial to building public trust in safety in CCAM so that it is predictable and it feels safe and it's proven on real roads. I think it's so important. And also I think ensuring equity. We should address more than only early adopters of new technology. We also have to address people who have limited mobility. So I think that is two key issues to think about.
Is it part of it, what we've said and what we heard there from Francesco, we need to be able to touch it more? I mean, if you looking at what's going on in Sweden, what is the kind of the public feeling around it? And are there opportunities? I mean, you gave some good examples of what's happening, but are there enough of those opportunities for people to feel, I see that, so I get what the tech actually means for me and how it becomes, I think it was Mark who said, we need to move towards a service.
Yes. And I think that in Sweden, people are very curious about this. It sounds very cool and new technology, but maybe we have to work on this feeling that it also is very safe and it's efficient. So
there could be more work to be done.
Yes, we have to do even more.
It's really challenging as well because people receive their information in different ways,
yes.
do they not? So that's where it's the capacity to do that. Again, I mean, if I come to you, Mark, I'm just going to stroll over the other side for the benefit of our online audience so they get a different view of my back. There we go. Goodbye. I bid you farewell. I'm now turning around the other way. I promised I would do this. Look, I've come to join you, and I'm going to casually lean here as though I'm at a bar. Okay, so again, Mark, picking that and trying to keep the narrative, you know, in the same vein. Again, what do we need to be doing to ensure that these technologies are inclusive and accepted by society? And when we say inclusive, what do you understand by that? What should we all understand by that word, inclusive?
Allow me just a personal gut feeling around CCAM. I really don't think that it's the kind of technology which would be tricky to obtain citizens' trust in. I really believe that this will come, and this will come very easily, because ultimately it will prove, yes, safer than human beings behind the steering wheel. I have absolutely no doubt about that. So there will be all the evidence needed, not only that it's safer, but that it provides services at lower costs, no doubt, for inclusiveness in our societies. Think of all our European regions which are very sparsely populated, where it's not easy to keep up public transport services, and CCAM here would be a game changer in terms of cost effectiveness of such services. So I really believe that trust will come, and will come very fast once we have the technology and the services in Europe as we should. This said, of course, we don't want to waste time and just bet that the public will follow, and this is why in our R&I endeavors we have the involvement of the public. So we work on ensuring that the public perception is taken into account, so that there is a prepared path for deployment.
Thank you. I think it's difficult. I'll come to you in a moment. You might want to weigh in on this, and then I will come to you with the last question for both you and for Nino. And again, it wasn't my intention to try and take questions from the floor, because I knew this one was a bit packed, but I think they're doing a splendid job at covering a lot of ground here, so I can see you are all in avid listening mode. Should we just take a read of the room on that? You feel quite positive that it shouldn't be a difficult one. Who would share that view of the Director-General there, that, you know, public acceptance, trust, I think it's going to be okay? The lady from the States, and I guess you have evidence of that as well, which is also why you're raising your hand. Who else feels, no, I don't think this is the most difficult because it's quite a radical change, and there are some amazing services, it is true, so we can see the benefits. Who would disagree with that and think that there's work to be done? Who thinks, I think there might be some mistrust of getting in a driverless vehicle, of AI? Raise your hands if you feel there is work to be done. Okay. You want to, yeah?
Yeah, I would like to add a comment, because this autonomous driving is a journey I would like to reflect. It's not like we're working since 10 years and we're going to deploy something in 10 years from now. We had already hundreds of function already in production. This is 100%, also due to legislation. In serious production, where people even not recognizing collision avoidance, side departure warning, this is also autonomous driving. So it's a journey, step by step, putting function to function. And I never heard that collision avoidance was not accepted. And of course, it's a small part, but it's into it. So we are able to deploy the things. But again, it's a journey. It's a marathon
Yeah,
to get all the functioning step by step.
Thank you. I will come back to you for a last one in just a moment to round off, but let me come to our MEP again, and let's be really clear from the sort of the European Parliament point of view, you know, perhaps 2 or 3 actions that the Parliament will take regarding autonomous vehicles. But I'm also very happy to hear if you have anything to weigh in on this issue of public acceptance. Over to you.
No, the main problem, in my opinion, is that is out of the debate at the moment. All the focus when we are talking about vehicles is not about autonomous vehicles, but still about what fuel they use. So we need to move the debate to the innovation. We don't know exactly, nobody agree if technology is totally ready or not, but we agree we are close to that, and we are ready to experiment. So this is something we should, it should change even our way to work. I'm not sure if car manufacturers actually are allied or not of this revolution, because of course they move more on a step-by-step approach, function by function, and it also influences the debate on what is the final result. But we need to know not what will happen in years, but what will happen in the next months. Everybody is ready to do more. So we need to know if in the next semester we will have chances to experiment more on street, where in Europe, the corridors like Susanne said, or something else, but something. So I think it's the moment to do something to go faster. That is the idea also why an event in the European Parliament in July. Because we need also to convince colleagues we are ready, much ready than what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, as we well know, I came to the site today with a gentleman who's been working in this arena for a long time. And as he rightly said, you know, you've also got public authorities and governments that have so many calls on their spending and so many calls on what is my priority and how can I answer the needs of my communities. So that is all part of the rich but very complex mix. Beautifully, 45 seconds if you can, because I'm aware of these good people's energy in the room, but you're a delightfully upbeat speaker. Anything else you didn't get to say about, you know, how industry can enhance this collaboration with the public actors to really accelerate this deployment? And if part of this deployment is we need to see it more, we need to touch it more.
Yeah. Again, that's of course the responsibility of the industry to bring ideas on the table, technology that are suitable. But I would like also to reinforce, and that's like it sounds, I repeat it once again, it's not chicken and egg. It's something that has to work close together. We are proposing, we need support, we are getting the support, or let me say the limitation that sometimes is also given. That's all about that. That the industry is responsible to make technology visible, touchable. I think this is a no-brainer, but this is not going to be sufficient. And the speed is limited by the way that we're working together. And there are potential, and nobody's disagreeing here in this round, hopefully also here in the plenum. That's really my only recommendation, my wish for the future for this team, because the next step, of course, are more challenging and could be, of course, of reservation by the people outside, and that's our responsibility. So let's please work together. That's the only solution. If somebody's waiting for the other to make the next step, then we are where we are already since 20 years. We can do so. It's not wrong. But the question is at the speed that we need.
Thank you. You just need to thank you so very much. And I think that also struck home for me, this issue of it's an incremental, you know, what we're doing is incremental. It's not like suddenly 10 years, there it all is, or 15. And on that journey, we need to be showing and telling. But on that journey also, we need to be having these very clear targets. So there is a kind of an alignment in the priorities, and it's kind of getting that. And that is what will be at the heart of the disruption that you spoke about. And this shift to the service mentality, so that we can all see how it actually works and what the benefits are. And you've articulated myriad benefits, inclusivity, safety, less congestion, better air, and the works. Can we give very warm thanks, because they could have said so much more, because they're all brilliant, and I just didn't let them. So please, can you give very warm thanks to our 4 opening speakers? Thank you very much. You are allowed to take your seats. I'm going to move over here because I don't know. Oh, look, I am on camera, but the experience for the online people, if it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, my apologies. I hope the camera will come to me now. So we are now going to move directly into our next plenary session. Can I just ask you again, please turn to the person on your right or left and tell them one thing that really resonated with you from that conversation. What's the one thing you will take home and share with your grandmother / your dog / the local grocer? Come on, this is just to give you a chance to get some, you've been listening so much. What do you take away? Okay. All right. I'm glad to see you have a lot to say. It could be, oh my God, I want to eat my lunch, but doesn't matter. All right. Thank you so very much. All right. We have just a further hour, okay, of which is comprised of a presentation, a discussion with 4 eloquent speakers to unpack the high points of that, the highlights of that presentation, and then we are going to hear very importantly from CINEA at the end because, hey, this is all about implementation. And then you will get your hands on some food. So are you all still good? Because I feel like you're listening. Hands up if you're all still in good, raring to go, energy listening mode. You can do it until lunchtime. Fantastic, of course. All right, so our next session is entitled Accelerating Innovation. So we've got the CCAM Partnership's first results, and then we're going to discuss its impact and its future impact. So as you know, the CCAM Partnership is co-programmed with the European Commission in the framework of Horizon Europe. So a memorandum of understanding was signed, and it's the central platform for aligning Europe's industrial, academic, and public efforts to accelerate the transition towards automation in Europe through research and innovation. As I said, a session in 2 parts. We have a presentation from 2 fine speakers for 20 minutes, okay, so that you can gain an understanding of some of the preliminary research results that come under that partnership, what's been going on, okay? And then we are going to unpack a little bit more and discuss some of the key issues, advancements in road safety, traffic management, user acceptance, and so on. Welcome, then, I can invite you together to Adrian Zlocki, who is Head of Automated Driving at FKA, an innovative engineering service for the mobility industry. Where is Adrian? Yep, see, that's very hard for a moderator. Number 1, I didn't get to meet you, and number 2, I didn't know where you were. Come. Do you know, I'm going to ask you to take that off for a minute, just so that the pictures look nicer. And do you want to sit in, and behind me, come and share on screen for the online audience. And coming in behind us and sitting perhaps there is the very delightful Stefan Dreyer. Oh, look, we're all in there. I love that. Am I delightful? I don't know. Head of CCAM, Ertico ITS Europe, and coordinator of the FAME project. I promised you we were going to hear more about that. So you're a bit of a double act. You're starting, right?
Exactly.
Do you want to take a seat here? Would that make sense? Voila. And there's your clicker. Thank you so much. You can give them a round of applause, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. And hello, everybody. My name is Adrian Zlocki, and I have the honor to start here this very short presentation and present to you some very first results of the CCAM monitoring project, which we are currently conducting for the CCAM Partnership.
This is a project which we started after summer last year and which will last until the second quarter of next year. And today are really the very first preliminary results. And it's very brief to set the scene here for the panel discussion, which will follow after these two presentations. All right, the goal of the study is to evaluate the CCAM partnership according to the objectives which have been defined in the SRIA, the Strategic and Innovation Roadmap, which has been defined. We furthermore look into all the 30 running projects and try to extract lessons learned, success stories, and impact cases, which I will present you very briefly, some very first insights. So basically what we did in the last couple of weeks and months, we interviewed all the 30 projects and tried to extract all the information that I'm going to present to you. The Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, SRIA, I think is well known, covers several objectives. There are general objectives, 4 of them, specific objectives, also 4 of them, and operational objectives. These are defining KPIs, key performance indicators, which define the target, what we want to achieve with the CCAM partnership. We have our data sources, the 1.5 hours of interviews, 30 of those, and we have a baseline, which is the state of the art, which are statistics, for example, take rates, and so on. And then we compare this all together and provide the results. So let's look into a little bit of detail. Here's a list of the 30 projects on the timeline, and you can see one project already finished, but most of the projects are up and running. Some just started, some run for a couple of years already. And the color coding, which you see here, are the clusters defined by the CCAM partnership. And it's exactly the same color coding, so you might know these colors already. So we are right now really in the middle of all of this. And these are 30 projects in total. And in the first step, I'd like to show you a very general overview of the content of these projects. So I'm not going to go into each single project. There's not time for that. But on a generic level, you see here on the left side the impact area of the project. So we basically asked the projects, what are your impact areas? And you can see here the size, font size is the number of named impact areas, and traffic safety, user, technical development. These are the main impact areas. But of course, there are also many others. On the right side, you see new and emerging fields. And not surprisingly, again, you see AI research and application is one of the most named impact field of these projects. We have a lot of things on data sets, data protection, data sharing, but also data privacy, cybersecurity, and others. These projects are on different technology readiness, TRL levels. Some of the projects have more than one TRL level, so it's more than 30 if you add this all up together, because there are several demonstrations, several test sites. They are of different maturity. Not surprisingly, the main area is around TRL level 5, 6, and 7 due to the nature of these projects. When we look into what the projects are doing, of course, testing and demonstrating CCAM applications. This is one very important area. And you can see 26 out of the 30 projects are involved in any kind of testing and demonstrating, living labs, and so on. 4 of the projects do not do testing, but please keep in mind we do have, for example, the CSA inside that and other projects which do not do this conventional testing. Inside testings, so far we didn't have any accidents, any injuries. We had minor incidents in 2 out of these projects, very minor incidents where we had a manual takeover or where we had some issues because of a communication delay as a traffic light. And we had one case where 2 vehicles touched lightly each other. It's not called an accident, but it's a minor incident. But overall, very safe. We do have also cross-border testing, where projects tested around borders, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Netherlands. but also Spain and France. These are the cross-border testing that we have in those projects. When we look into data, these projects are very collaborative with each other. So they exchange knowledge, methodologies, and data. So we ask the projects, do you feed into each other? How close do you collaborate? And you can see 20 projects, they clearly collaborate with each other. Some of them have sister projects in the same call. There's more than one project funded on a certain topic. You see that 7 plan to collaborate in the future, and only 2 clearly stated that they do not collaborate with other projects. And again, it's due to the nature of the project. They don't have a sister project. The CSA collaborates with all the projects, of course, but not directly. When we look into more details on data, there's a lot of reuse of data. So 11 projects and 15 additionally to that are quite open to reuse data from other projects. Only 4 are not reusing data. And when it comes to data sharing, so the last part of the slide, many projects will make their data, the data set available, which they collected, which they did research on, and so on. So 15 plan for sure to make it available. 10 are thinking about it at the moment, and just 5 projects can't share data because they don't have projects, or they have some restrictions due to personal data so that they can't share it. Very interesting to mention is also the sharing solution. Zenodo is named, but also the FAME data sharing platform is generally accepted by those projects. Now from this general overview, we come to a little bit more specific. I would like to talk about success stories. They are not success stories yet because the projects are running, so I call it potential for success stories. So things which we see might be turned into success stories in the near future coming out of those projects. You see on the left side, collaboration and implementation potential as a category, and here I'd like to name the Sunrise project, which at the moment is talking to European Vehicle Authority to implement really the safety assurance framework which they created inside the project. On the right side, you see the category testing, regulation, and harmonization, where we have FAME with the harmonization of test regulations. They did a lot of work on that. We have the events project, where they worked a lot on connectivity for hybrid simulation and AV simulation demonstration. And we have the MODI project, which has a joint permit approval to do the cross-border testing in the Nordic countries. Another slide on potential success stories, of course, on the category of AI and trustworthiness systems. Here we have the 3 projects, Athena, Autothrust, and AI for CCAM, where we have topics around artificial intelligence, using this for in-cabin monitoring, and for advancing and trustworthy AI. On the right side, we have the category of methodologies and frameworks, where we have moved to CCAM. They developed a societal impact assessment tool, which is currently being implemented as a course at the University of London. We have the Connect project, who worked out a trust assessment framework for CCAM. They also support the 5GAA standards contribution. And we have the FAME with the SAM with the common evaluation methodology on European level, which is available at the website. My almost final slide is on competitiveness. Here we have the categories R&A, contribution to safety, and deployment readiness and validation tools. And for the R&A, contribution to safety, I'd like to name Frodo, RoadView, and Selfie as projects who worked on technologies, for example, on vehicle positioning and digital platform, on sensor perception technology, especially for adverse and harsh weather conditions, and on cybersecurity solutions to prevent attacks and simulate attacks with intrusion. For the deployment readiness and validation tool category, we have augmented CCAM, working on digital and physical infrastructure. We have Synergies, working on a reusable validation platform, and we have Metacase as an example for exploring CCAM use cases. And that is basically the end of my presentation. The data analysis is ongoing, so we are at the moment working through the 1.5-hour interviews of all the 30 projects in detail to going through all the 29 KPIs. We are working on these success stories and on impact stories and elaborating more on them as the projects develop with the time. As I mentioned, the final results will be available at the second quarter of next year. And of course, in the meantime, we are supporting the CCAM Partnership. We are feeding back also to the projects in order to support the projects and improve them. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention and like to hand over to Stefan for his presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you, Katrina, for the kind introduction. So the necessity for cross-sector coordination for development and deployment of CCAM has been evident in Europe for many years. So as you know, the Declaration of Amsterdam already in 2016 and then the third mobility package really highlighted this as a priority for Europe. And the CCAM platform from the European Commission identified the tools that we need for this coordination. And I'm glad to say that the CCAM Partnership actually implemented many of these tools for research and innovation. The FAME project, which is the coordination cluster project of the CCAM Partnership, implemented a European framework for testing on public roads, which is basically meant for EU projects to have a better coordination and better alignment. It comprises several tools. So first, we have to start with a taxonomy to enable the projects to have the same language, to speak about the same definition and the same use cases. The European Common Evaluation Methodology provides a way for results of the project to be comparable and complementary. The data sharing framework, so as Adrian mentioned, it's very important for projects to share their data, and for that we need a data space and an approach for the projects to share this information even beyond the end of the projects. We also need recommendations for ethics, and finally regulations. So the provision of recommendations for harmonized conditions and regulations for cross-border testing in particular is extremely important today. So FAME did not work on this alone. So for the European Common Evaluation Methodology, it was a cooperation with many projects, and it was built on more than 10 years of EU-funded project experience. But more than 30 external experts, including representatives from many of the CCAM projects that you see here with the logos, contributed and provided feedback for the European Common Evaluation Methodology. And I'm glad to say that the final handbook was published officially last week. It provides guidelines for project preparation, evaluation plans in 18 evaluation areas, and also support for reporting the evaluation outcomes. And what I'm particularly happy about is that also it's expected that this common evaluation methodology is used by future projects as well. It's integrated in the future for work programs. For data sharing framework as well, as I mentioned, we would like to enable projects to share the data, and the federated data sharing demonstrator that is being built by FAME and that builds this trusted environment for both trusted data providers and data users has been also always being tested currently as well by two CCAM projects, so ATENA and Aware2All. And we are particularly inviting other projects to use this platform. As I said, many projects expressed interest in using this platform, in sharing the data, so we really need this to be adapted and to be used. The cooperation with member states is also essential for the deployment of CCAM. And here we have been working in particular with the member states representative group of the CCAM partnership on a crucial blocker still that we have for deployment in Europe, which is the lack of harmonized testing regulations. And this cooperation with the member states, with the European Commission, with the Motor Vehicle Working Group, as well with the High Drive project, we have significantly advanced towards a common procedure that now includes as well pre-type approval and also development testing approvals. And what is important to mention as well is that member states are also eager to learn from research projects. A few weeks ago, we had a workshop organized by the Polish presidency of the member states representative group, where we presented results from the 6 projects of the societal needs clusters that already have some results on methodologies and first insights on acceptance of citizens and users. And member states were very interested in learning from that, as they are, of course, it's a very important still blocker as well for them for deploying the CCAM services. At last, cooperation has to go beyond European borders. It's very important that we look beyond Europe, as mobility doesn't stop at borders. And here as well, we have been involving 12 projects so far of the CCAM Partnership in the bilateral exchanges that we have already for many years with the US and with Japan to identify cooperation. It's a sort of matchmaking exercise. And we want to go beyond that. We are in the FAME project currently identifying cooperation opportunities with several additional countries. We had yesterday a very interesting workshop here with presentations from many other countries that you see here listed on the right. And we will try to identify cooperation opportunities, what are the main institutions, what are the main contacts, in order to include that in the future work programs and make sure that the future projects also investigate these cooperation opportunities. And that's my concluding slide. It's just another main outcome of the FAME project and the CCAM Partnership is the EU-wide knowledge base, which is meant to be the one-stop shop for all the information about CCAM-related activities in Europe and beyond. It's basically connecting all the knowledge that is generated by the CCAM Partnership, but also by national projects, by member states. So this obviously needs contribution from everybody for the wider community beyond the CCAM Partnership. So we really count on you to use it and to contribute to it, check if the information is accurate and update it constantly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The only thing I would just check while you're both still in vision is, are you around? You're around all today. So we can't take questions now, but these good gentlemen are around. And the one thing I was just going to say is, geez, when did 6G come along? I got stuck at 3G, and then I just saw, I mean, whoa, that's happened fast. And the second thing I thought of all the acronyms, FAME. You got a lot to live up to, don't you? Anyway, thank you for your highly comprehensive, and yes, slides are available. They won't be on the site right now, but they will be coming shortly. So there was a lot of good stuff in there. You need it, you'll get it. Warm thanks to both of these gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's just see how well you were listening. What does CEM stand for? CEM. What's that acronym stand for? Sorry?
Common European methodology.
Nearly common something methodology. Ha, there we go. All right, common evaluation methodology. What about TDS? Test data space. Okay, here's a last one. What about SRG? Because they're very important. Thank you. You could have said that loudly. States Representative Group. Indeed. Thank you very, very much. And I hope if you've got a success story of your own and you're ready, please do share it, and do share it with other participants who are joining you here at this event. All right, so we said that what we're going to talk about now is to unpack some of that. We're going to highlight some of the other activities, like aligning with other partnerships, how do we connect these national and these EU initiatives, what are the most favourable conditions for deployment that we need to create, and how do we kind of support this next transition, which is effectively the cities transition, this next stage. So it's really great. We've got a real mix of stakeholders here, road operator, we've got the European Commission, the research arena, also representing a member state, and industry. So hopefully what they will talk about also will plug into the work that will come and orient it before, beyond the end of Horizon Europe. So may I invite to the stage from BMW, Christian Mecht. He is Director of EU Governmental Affairs, Digitalization and Automated Driving, and importantly, CCAM Association Chair. Brilliant, please, yep. Please do sit. We also have, I don't see where you are, Hamid Zarganpour, who is Chief Strategist, Connected and Automated Transports at Trafikverket, and CCAM Association Vice Chair, so you know each other. We also have from the European Commission, Maria Cristina Galassi, who is Team Leader, Automated Connected Vehicles and Safety at the Directorate-General for Internal Market Industry, Entrepreneurship and SMEs, DG Grow. Thank you very much for that very beautifully elegant walk to the stage. You were hiding over there. Please do sit in. And it's a pleasure to also invite Angelos Bekiaris from the Hellenic Institute of Transport and also President for the Centre for Research and Technology, Hellas, which is CERT. So you've got many hats, but you're deploying 2, I believe, on this particular panel. So let me just go and take my strange position here, if I may, shunning you all right? Elevator pitch style. In the opening, elevator pitch. So much in there. I'm not going to test your acronym knowledge. Anything, just in 30 seconds, that most sort of struck you or most important? Was it the methodologies element? Was it the AI and the trustworthy systems? Was it this aspect of data sharing, of collaboration? You saw lots of projects were collaborating, some are not yet. Was there anything particular that you went, oh, that's interesting? That's the slide Feel free, you're not obliged, but I'm just giving you...
Yeah,
Christian,
maybe I could
thank you for saving my bacon, Christian.
Well, there are so many important things as outcome from these activities we saw recently. It's actually hard to really focus on one specific one, but what strikes me most is the next steps. The next first step, from my point of view, would really to look on if it's lean enough, if we have enough speed, and if we have enough commitment from the addressees of these methodologies, and then have a look in the concrete projects, in the concrete test beds and research projects, how will this work out in the end?
Does anyone else want to comment before I have my specific questions? Yes, please.
I can continue. You are right, Christian. I would say that we have answers to exactly every problem that you can ever imagine if you have a look on this one. But the thing is that putting this together, making all these elements working together, we are missing something. We need to put this together and make things happen. And we see signs, but we need to really make it happen.
That's a mime full of import and importance. I see that. I think everybody knew what that meant. Okay, anything else? Yes, please, Maria Cristina.
Thank you. And indeed, following up on what my fellow panelists mentioned, indeed, I'm proud to see that we are very, very good with research projects. So I want to congratulate all participants in the projects for the effort and colleagues from the GRTD as well and CINEA also for coordinating the work. And I really look forward to seeing the same huge successful results also for the deployment phase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think you can not say something, perhaps.
No problem. I think what I would collect from the previous discussion, the biggest issue is we need now to bring this to the society. It was said rightly, people out there speak about what is, if they're using electricity or if in the future will be hydrogen or whatever. We don't have the incentives, we don't have the plans, we haven't brought that to the mainstream society. Therefore, the very big projects, the very big initiatives, the real big pilots are really essential. And I will come later maybe saying, but maybe I can say it right now, we have proof from big projects. I was, for example, the technical coordinator of SOAR project, from 300,000 people that tested, that actually used vehicles, automated vehicles on the road, that before they use it and after they use it, we got one level as an average on the acceptance level. So around 6 at the beginning, around 7 at the end. So in the scale 0 to 9 of acceptance level, we moved typically one scale as an average in the acceptance for people that have used the vehicle. So really we need all together to dare and take it out now.
Yeah. And I will let you a bit later unpack a little bit of that, because as we said, there is a different notion. When we talk there is different sort of feelings on what acceptance is all about. What acceptance of what? All right, let me come back to you, Christian, because I'm going to circle back to that partnership, and let's just sort of sing its praises for a moment. Let's look at the positives, and perhaps you can provide for these good people just 2 or 3 benefits that have emerged from the partnership, from the CCAM partnership, that could accelerate this deployment. As you just said, it's all about the deployment now.
Well, let me start with the first half of the partnership. We passed now the first half of the partnership, and we achieved a very good and strong experts network. We provided a clear vision for CCAM mobility throughout Europe, and this was realized with a quite lean approach. I think we will entering new discussions about the follow-up framework program. The setup was very lean, and we achieved this, and this helps basically everyone who is interested in the CCAM solutions, also for sure the industry. Secondly, what we've seen before for sure is a very crucial one, what I explained at the beginning, having these methodologies, a common view on these topics to really scale up. But now the second step is now to really put this into real life. And we are just there. And honestly, we are expecting this year most of the beginning of our project endings with the results, and we will try best possible to transfer these results to various stakeholders throughout Europe, because this is of utmost importance that everyone understands what's in for them and how to contribute to the scale up of the technology.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to jump directly, and again, just erring on the side, keeping to the side of implementation and speed and your fabulous mime, which I'm going to pick up on that. From the perspective of the road, I'm never going to forget that in my entire moderating career. From the perspective of the road authority, perhaps a couple of lessons, particularly integrating, with regard to integrating the CCAM innovations into an existing both transport infrastructure, but also policy framework. What's your lessons?
Yes, allow me to just explain that I'm also vice chairman for the CCAM. You've mentioned it yourself. But here today, I'm going to talk, to give you insights from a road authority's point of view, how it works. Actually, we know the great potentials of CCAM solutions. This is no doubt about it. It helps us to actually reach our policy goals, all of them at the same time, sustainable transport, etc., etc. This is no doubt about it. At the same time, we have learned how difficult it is to integrate high-tech in a low-tech, traditional, still functioning road infrastructure. It has been built in 130 years. It is as it is. It works for the most of the people, not because of the new technology, because the old one is working. So what we have to understand is that from a road authority's point of view, they need to actually figure out what are the targeted investments to put in place to make sure that they are actually solving right types of problems for users, not adding new challenges or shifting challenges to something else. It comes very often regarding this digital infrastructure, which we are expected to invest in things that we might regret just because we cannot adopt to the early CCAM solutions. The technology is rapidly changing, and we have to decide what to do.
Thank you. I mean, you said, I think, and just to recap it, you're saying, to keep the investment really targeted, can we please focus on the real problems, to be very clear. I mean, in a way, it sort of picks up on that thread that's been going through in terms of clarity and targeted and being very strategic and each incremental moment. So just don't create new stuff. And would you give me an example, just one, very quickly, when you say a real problem for targeted investment, what would that be?
Well, the thing is, what we are afraid of, smart is not always really high tech. Smart is also less is more sometimes. Do not make workers be over-dependent to a system which might fail from now and from time to time. I mean, everybody remembers the Spain blackout. We remember. You remember when 5G, 6G, 7G doesn't work. It happens often, and so on. At the same time, the road infrastructure is very crucial for the whole Europe, which assures secure that the societies, the whole Europe works, really. So it has to be flexible and resilience. When something is not working, this road system needs to work. Thinking about another pandemic, I'm thinking about not war really, but something very bad. But the thing is that it has to work no matter what.
Okay, thank you. You need to just switch off your mic momentarily, if you may. I'm sort of picking up perhaps on the question that I'd come to Marc Lemaitre with at the start, and this alignment between kind of innovation, bringing it together with regulation, but specifically going back to the CCAM partnership. Can it provide, do you think, what specific support can it provide to bring that innovation together with the regulation?
So I guess this is for me.
It is for you. It is for you. Yes.
Yes. So first of all, of course, as we have done so far, the exchanges have been very good. And so also having indeed feedback from successful projects and also from the stakeholders that are part of the CCAM partnership is very important to build on the needs. So to build also on the results and the gaps identified. So this first level of feedback from the ongoing work is very important. Then secondly, looking a bit at the near future, I would say contribution on the flagship action of the Automotive Action Plan. This was mentioned also previously today, and indeed we have identified fundamental aspects to be further developed and work that are marked as flagship action in the action plan. And I would say the most important work, collaboration with the CCAM partnership is needed and will be very much welcome, is the establishment of cross-border test beds. So on this, we can benefit significantly from indeed the collaboration from the partnership and the experience with the research projects, and that's where we look forward to establishing maybe a more close dialogue. And then last but not least, of course, the CCAM partnership is acting and hopefully will continue acting as a catalyzer for stakeholders' engagement. So indeed, it's an important platform to gather together regulators and policy makers, but also with industry leaders and representatives from research, civil society. And so it makes a very positive environment to indeed co-design the future regulations to identify, as I said before, also the gaps, what needs to be filled, and what we can work on successfully to finally deploy the new technologies.
So you feel that there is the space there for that conversation amongst all the key stakeholders in order that they can help shape the regulation, because it goes very much back also to what I had asked Mark. You know, you've got this really fast evolving arena. You know, the EU can be accused of, you know, being slow, being not flexible enough. And Mark said, yeah, but it has to. You know, there's no two ways about it. Of course, that's that. So you feel hopeful in your corner, in your
yes.
that
Yes, I
legislation
do,
keeps pace with the innovation and vice versa?
Yes, definitely. We had very good example about that. For example, indeed the support and collaboration exchange that we receive when one of the main concerns was indeed obtaining testing permits on public roads across Europe. And this was feedback from ongoing projects that was further elaborated in current projects together with policymakers and member states. So that was a very successful example that I wish to see more and more often happening.
Thank you. Just before I move, because I'm jumping back to this examples of public acceptance, anything, because you've been listening in, that you'd want to comment upon before I jump to a different sort of topic?
Yes, maybe one comment on it. We are really happy to provide these recommendations on the cross-border testing, but I'm wondering where to find the real lever to find firm agreements with the member states on the national level. This is, I think, the task of the next few months, to find really the process within Europe, with the Commission, with the member states, to find appropriate bodies who agree on the way forward on this cross-border testing. Because basically, CCAM Partnership for the moment is not empowered to do this. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. I feel that I should have said something very good here now, just because the two first I mentioned, it was kind of... the thing is that Nino was right, and we are acknowledging this, how important it is to recognize how good we are doing. I mean, everybody loves to have law-abiding, polite, almost social vehicles on our roads. It makes the users safe, and also make other road users safe. And the key here is digital traffic regulation in digital format. So important to be provided in whole Europe. It helps the cross-border trial, and also helps a lot to reach policy levels goals, which are so important, at least in Sweden, coping with, for instance, speed limits. That's so important. We know safety is so important. So the key is digital traffic regulation. And now in Sweden, we make a lot of effort to authorities in Sweden. They have a joint venture to make it happen. Good quality traffic regulation in digital format, machine readable.
Thank
I should
you.
have said that.
Well, but now you have. So, and I do not think this audience would disagree. All right, I only have about 6 minutes. I have a question for you, and then one more for each of you. And forgive me for not being able to conjure up more minutes, but maybe not too long, but I think we need to have some of those insights. You said you'd done this testing, 300 people, but, you know, from the research community's point of view now, which particular project outcomes have the strongest potential to influence user acceptance, this uptake of automated mobility? Perhaps just a couple of examples to inspire us.
Yes, not 300, 300,000.
300,000?
Yes.
God, yes. Yeah.
So, but let me say the following. Yeah, it is the biggest project so far.
Wow.
30 million. Yeah, but let me say, I think very fast that although I agree that, for example, safety obviously will be clear that it's higher, so acceptance and trust will come. We are at the beginning. The plane is going up. And if anything happens, we have seen a couple of accidents in the US. This might change the thing. So anything happens now, we are in a different situation. Plus, safety, we found out the hard way through some projects in the past, Drive to the Future, Interact, that is not the major worry. It is, unexpectedly, security in public transport when we don't have a driver. Especially, and you say, yes, we have all these systems, level 2, level 3. When we go to level 5, if we go, because here is the business, when you don't have the driver inside, otherwise I don't see the business case for public transport, then you do have the security issue. And so security and safety together is trust. So auto trust, AI for CCAM, Connect, Selfie, many, many useful projects give results. To leapfrog, I agree, it would come. But let's try to do more that it comes earlier. And to close my intervention, one other thing, let's not forget, again for level 5, whenever the business people hear it, they are afraid about jobs. We speak about bus drivers, truck drivers, taxi drivers. They don't even realize what we found out in skillful projects. There are not enough people interested in these jobs now, let alone in the future. But people don't realize. They don't realize they're not going to lose their job. They're going to get a much better job, even more jobs, because we have new services. And you don't have to deliver things on the door. You can use the drone or you can use the vehicle until you operate it from a nice and not wet office. Therefore, projects, new ones like reskilling and so on, need to cover also this gap. The society is not composed about experts like us. So issues about social integration, jobs, security need to be
absolutely. Thank you for that very, very good point. And therefore, when you say we need this upskilling or cross-skill, whichever skilling we call it, who then is responsible? Who takes the lead on that? Who makes sure it happens?
I think that we need, first of all together, to identify, and we're doing that in several projects, as I said, like reskilling right now, to identify what we have to teach people. Some people in the business we have to train, some others we have only to inform. And then, of course, it would come to the national, let's say, from universities to really simple training, even to schools eventually. So we need to integrate this in our all levels, vocational training, all levels of our training system.
Thank you. Thank you for making a very excellent point. I'm now doing my floating across as elegantly as you did from the other side of the room, just, you know, for a change for the online audience, wherever they are, and sticking near you for last questions for beautifully concise answers. Just picking up on this cross-border issue with the CCAM partnership, and are there ways in which it's helping to address, you know, these barriers, particularly with the deployment cross-border, but also, and you picked up on it already, the harmonization of automated vehicle technologies across the EU member states, of which I think you are very aware. How is the partnership helping to sort of meet those particular challenges?
Well, the first aspect is coming up with clear recommendations about the methodologies, about the validation methodologies, etc. But the second step would definitely be discussing with the member states. We have incorporated the states representative group in the CCAM partnership. It's an excellent base, a window to the member states to discuss and further align this as well. But I think we, as mentioned before, we need a clear help from the European Commission.
Thank you very much. Hamid, again, let's look at the solutions that are coming, the CCAM solutions. Where can they specifically support sort of authorities, national, regional, local strategies? And I hope you're going to mention something about standards, maybe. That would be good, I think, to just talk about that again.
Yes. Very quickly, everything that the Christian said is, I 100% agree. Also, CCAM results, what actually results are so important for avoiding local-only solutions. This is so important. If we want to have Europe functioning, then we cannot afford to have only our own solution in one place. So cross-border trials become so important in that context.
Thank you. Let me turn to you, Maria. I think it's important and probably a question in people's heads. I know we're in, where were we at? Yes. We're in May 2025. We've got the end of this framework. We've got 2027, and we're having to look beyond Horizon Europe, are we not? So I think these good people in the room would be curious to know how the Commission plans to ensure this continuity of all these robust CCAM efforts, you know, and also to support not just research going forward, but also this aspect, the deployment.
Yes, so I will definitely focus on deployment because it's closer indeed to my area of work. First of all, starting with a short term, so this cross-border testing. Test beds, they are meant to be indeed a bridge solution because we are actually trying to boost, to establish the single market for driving automation. We know that this will take time because it's not just about EU regulations, it's also about harmonization of member states' rules and national rules. So this will take years. So meanwhile, we also want to boost and have the vehicles on roads. As we said, we need to push a bit in that direction, facilitate. We see that happening in other world regions, and we do not want to be late. And so that's a bit the scope of the test beds. So we will foster the first steps in the commercial deployment, for example, of services for public transports, but also for freight transport. So we are considering different use cases, and there, of course, the input from CCAM Partnership is very much needed and welcome, as I said. On the other side, looking at the longer term, as everyone here mentioned, we need to create the suitable conditions at European level everywhere. So this is about creating the single market. And so we will start first with issuing a framework for harmonized approach at European level for issuing testing permits for ADAS and ADS technologies on public roads. That's indeed where Commission support is needed, and we are ready. So with the support of the FAME project, we drafted guidelines for that we will deliver in the form of indeed Commission guidelines with the support and endorsement of member states as a form of soft law, following up with the monitoring of the application. And we will also provide a contact point to support implementation of these guidelines. And then based on the results, that we hope will be successful immediately, but if not, we will also be ready to discuss with member states about having EU rules on that. On the other side, we also need, as said, to harmonize the deployment. So we not want local solutions, and we will be working also on that together with the CCAM Partnership with member states to find common baselines for allowing deployment and also licensing of transport services at local level.
Thank you very much. So there seems to be this step-by-step strategic approach, which I would imagine you will be saying it needs to continue to be fed by the feedback from the stakeholders at each step. But there's this push towards deployment. There's a recognition that, you know, this lack of harmonization, this lack of how do we test all this at member state level really is, you know, putting a potential and a real spanner in the works. And there we heard a clear call for it, but you said we've heard you, and this is what we are endeavouring to do. A last question before I invite our last speaker, who is going to entertain you all before we break for lunch, because it's important to hear from him, from CINEA. Last question, I think it's very important also, because it ties in with the public acceptance. And one of our opening speakers mentioned this. It could have been Marc Lemaitre, it could have been another speaker, about how all of this impacts so many different areas, urban planning, infrastructure, it's everywhere. So how do you see the research under this particular, under the CCAM partnership, connecting all of those dots? Because that's also important for public perception too, isn't it? It's a huge revolution.
Thank you. I think that it is a double-edged knife that we need to use, and we are using here. First, you need to have in each of these different sectors specific projects to solve the specific issues and to bring the stakeholders from different states, different places together. Augmented CCAM podium, for example, for the infrastructure sector, that you bring the infrastructure point of view, diversify CCAM and others for the societal sector. But the ultimate step, the most important, is in the moment of truth when you have these big pilots, like L5, like high drive on the highway, like, for example, Avenue Show, Ultimo, and Metacare for the urban sector. Because then you have the actual test of everybody and how this works. And I can tell you, because I've been coordinating some of these projects in the past, and it's a nightmare. And the worst thing, the most difficult, not the worst, it's interesting, it's nice, but it's the most difficult is when you have human factors and psychologists from the one side and engineers from the other talking about models and how we build a model with totally different context, what the model is. So this is where the moment of truth comes in these real-life big pilot projects.
And who in the room is who's very aware of all of these different projects? Who is a real whiz at? Just you, sir? Yeah? Who in this room? Who is... Okay, anyone else? Who, over there, yes, of course you have. Who has got an appetite to find out more? Because as we heard Christian say right at the outset, it covers off so many different areas. Who's got an appetite to find out more about all of these? Because I have, and I'm not even in you, sir. Well, thank you. All right. Any last word, and I release you. Did you want to say something, or you're good?
Well, I just thank you for this morning, and I wish us that everyone keeps a certain spirit from this week, from Ispra, getting back home for this daily work, and think about what's really key for scaling up CCAM solutions in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. I could literally not have said it better myself. You are allowed to take your seats whilst I go to that podium and introduce our last speaker of the morning. Warm thanks to all of our speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for letting me... I'll come to the microphone, that might help. Thank you so much for letting me whistle-stop tour you through those particular topics, because you've been amazing. I can still feel the energy. I can still feel that you are looking at our speakers and not your phones, so I'm grateful for that. But please give this last speaker before lunch all of your last bits of your energy and attention, because it's important. He's head of Green Research and Innovation Department at CINEA, the European Commission. So this really is, of course, CINEA is the implementing agency of the Commission for many of the projects that are presented in the exhibition and the demonstrations. And since we're talking about implementation, we need to hear from him. His name is Matthias Langemeier, and a warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you. Thanks. Voila.
Site? Yes. Good afternoon, and thank you for the introduction. My name is Matthias Langemeier. I'm representing CINEA. CINEA is your partner in the implementation, partner of our policymakers, making the program real, but also partners of your projects that are already working with us, and hopefully soon also many more partners in the coming projects. I'm very enthusiastic, and not to say excited, to be here. I feel proud and privileged because I'm super excited to see the demonstrators. And here I will have my eyes as a little child. And I think as a child, you have this curiosity when you see new technologies, when you see as a small child walking alongside the road, a big truck or car, so you're impressed. But I have the feeling of, I'm going to discover this afternoon these novelties, and thanks to you. Thanks to the project CINEA is also implementing, so I'm very happy to see this vibrant community here today. Just my presentation, exactly, yes. So CINEA, your partner, as I said, we are supporting the European Commission political ambition by managing several funding projects. Among others, through the programs that we manage, we help to advance economic development, enhance competitiveness, tackle climate change, and protect environment. We manage these programs in the most effective and efficient way. You can see them on the slide, and it's important to mention that all these projects and programs contribute to the Commission objective. The projects of CCAM that we support fall under Horizon Europe Cluster 5, a cluster that covers climate, energy, and mobility research and innovation. The key added value of our agency is that we manage different programs in the same thematic area, such as transport. This allows us to identify complementarities, synergies between programs. It helps us to guide beneficiaries to the right funding opportunity. With our funding programs, we can cover the full innovation cycle from basic research to deployment. Talking about synergies, and and Mark Lumet, most synergies work most by design rather than by coincidence. And with this, I mean that synergies should be integrated in program design. Project proposals should be encouraged to look at synergies with parallel projects or at opportunities for progressive innovation. From our side, working with the Commission services, we very much encourage synergies and links between programs and sectors. On the one hand, programs as the Connecting Europe Facility, LIFE, and Innovation Fund are targeting the deployment of solutions, of your solutions. On the other hand, the Horizon Europe program is there to help to develop, test, and demonstrate solutions, usually by increasing the readiness level of solutions from the lower TRL inception to ideas of higher TRL level, demonstrators, paving the way for economic viability and societal acceptance. Let me give two examples on cross-program and sectoral synergies. I would like to mention the CITS, Cooperative Intelligent Transport System, and the CCAM are closely linked. CITS provides the technological foundation that enables CCAM to function effectively. A number of Horizon Europe-funded projects, such as the MODI project, and we have one of the demonstrators downstairs, have incorporated cross-border tests. In this case, it's seamless mobility between EU member states should be ensured, facilitating deployment. The Sea Roads platform, as well as Nordic Way 2 and 3, funded under the CEF program, help to deploy harmonized and interoperable CITS services and data interchange across member states and on the TNT core network corridors. Other example is the Arc Atlantique Corridor, a CEF project. This project helped to deploy ITS solutions that resulted from Heights Horizon 2020 project. Heights developed a high-precision technology that allowed to position vehicles with an accuracy of 25 centimeters. To conclude on synergies, while many projects find their own way to the market through the involvement of stakeholders from industry, CINEA actively works to ensure that research results can also find their way to the market through deployment programs. Let me look quickly at this CCAM overview of projects. I will not go too much into the detail, but just to demonstrate how much money we invest in the research, and more is to come. And to look also in the development. We are now at the peak of the program, and we'll see more money to come with the next calls, but we see also shifting of the priorities and the areas. And here I would like specifically to mention the demonstrator, which is taking an increasing part of our research activities. A few words on the next call. Some of you might have listened to the Cluster 5 Info Days last week. We are planning for 25 two separate calls. It's a series of topics that will be open for proposals hopefully very soon. I'm still awaiting the formal approval, but it should come very soon, as I said. And we have two separate calls, one with the deadline on the 2nd of September, and a second one with the deadline 20th of January 26. The first call is a bit special because it includes topics that are part of a pilot on integrating societal readiness in the project. The first call contains two topics. One of them, the preparation of a large-scale demonstrator, will play a crucial role in preparing the ground for future projects in the CCAM domain. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of interest here in the room and remotely connected for this project. The total budget available is 16.5 million euros. And the second call, 4 topics that will focus on important aspects of CCAM, such as the integration of human driving behavior in the validation of CCAM systems. And here, a total budget of 21 million euros. So I'm very much looking forward to the publication of the program and even more to the excellent proposals you will submit. An information day took place last week, just to tell you that the recording is available, so if you couldn't make it last week, please have a look. That brings me already to the closing. As I said, I'm very happy to be here and very grateful also for GRC to host the event here in Ispra, because you are able to show the demonstrators something we were not able to do in the past conferences. I invite you all to join the EC stand that we have in the exhibition to talk to our policymakers, but also to talk to my colleagues from CINEA. And if I can just ask the CINEA colleagues just to stand up so you can talk to these colleagues in the next days, please, that you know to whom to talk when it comes about implementation. So
you went up, down.
You have to identify them. Exactly, no, thanks. So on implementation, these guys, these colleagues will help you, and I'm very happy that they are here. So a big thank again for GRC for hosting this event. A big thank also to counterparts in the Commission for this excellent cooperation. And if you allow me just two last, please. We talked a lot about our partners worldwide, and they're important. But when I see, again, as a citizen, a bit the news over the last week, I see a lot or more or most of the information communication coming from our partners overseas. I would like to see our projects coming also more prominently in the press. So we know that the EU is funding good stuff. We have to talk about it also. So an open invitation for you to be a bit more visible, that we see our excellent projects. And the second, lastly, and then I leave you for the lunch, here's a lot of expertise in the house, in the room, and remotely connected. We always look for experts that allow us to identify and to select the best projects. So if you are interested in joining us as an external expert in selecting the best projects, you are welcome. It's an open invitation. We always need your expertise, your knowledge to allow us to select the best projects. With this, I leave you for the lunch, and I'm really looking forward.
I'll come back.
Yes, looking forward to these exciting days. Make the best out of it. It's about networking also. I'm sure that you will reach out to your partners. And as I said, I'm looking to the best, to the excellent proposals we will receive for the next call. And thank you.
Thank you.
I hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, really. I mean, we were all just going, when you said, please, I want to see some more visibility for these brilliant European projects and pilots and efforts and genius that's going on, there was a kind of a sort of a yes agreement there. So absolutely, you could not have said it better. Thank you so very much. 90 seconds. I've got a bit of housekeeping for you. First of all, yes, just some of the things that I heard. Most importantly, I think it's been very clear, I hope it's been very clear for you, that the EU is very committed to this. It has tried to bring to you and describe its unique role. Yes, there have been asks where, please, could you do more so that you can help with harmonization and alignment and so forth at member state level so that we can take this spanner out of the works. But I think the commitment clearly is there, and also there was this mention of the Automotive Action Plan more than once. You know, there is that commitment. The member states have their role, and all of you different stakeholders. Disruption, and I again quote Marc Lemaitre at the beginning, well, it can't happen without everybody, right? It can't happen with just one or two or three pieces of the puzzle. There is so much with the projects. I would echo that from what you said about visibility. Be enthused. Be enthused. There's lots to learn from. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's so much out there. So I think I also heard the message to be enthused about and not afraid of the global context. You talked about, you know, open your eyes and bring all of that visibility to Europe as well. One needs to make success visible, also to boost the funding, to boost the public acceptance, and to make things easier for public authorities, road transport operators, and the works. So that's super important. Thank you very much also for the comment on skills. That was a good one, on skills, on standardization, and I love that, picking up Adrian. That was an incident, not an accident, when the two cars briefly kissed there. That was one of the entertaining things that I do take away. And now you have a break. Now we've broken late, so I'd like to give you an hour. It's okay. We can go to the parallel sessions, the first of them, a little bit later, because if we all join for the ribbon cutting at just before 6, instead of 5:45, I think we're all going to be okay, because then we've got the ribbon cutting, and then you can get your hands later at the reception on a glass of something cold and delicious, and food will follow at 19:30. So you'll be coming back here after lunch. This room will have been transmogrified into 3 rooms, okay? And that is where you will do the first round of the parallel sessions. You will have a second round, and then, of course, as I say, there's lots of people to help you get to the right place. There it is on the map, when we'll have the ribbon cutting just before 6 o'clock. And you can visit the exhibition. Marc Lemaitre, I guess you have the authority to sneak into the exhibition beforehand, but close the door firmly behind you, all right? So you can see the maps here. All the information is in your information packs. You've got that, you've got a map. Please just be aware, shuttle buses back to the hotels. Sorry, this is all the boring housekeeping bit. 21 tonight in front of the conference centre, 9 o'clock tonight, okay? You've got schedules for buses, you've got schedules for transport for tomorrow and Thursday. Please have a look at it, not at the last minute, before you go to bed, not when you get up in the morning, so you can kindly be on time. There's lots of people who are here to really inspire you, so please be there for them to do that. Can we just do one last thanks to all of the speakers who've graced the stage this morning? Thank you very, very much for sharing but a fraction of your expertise. Can I thank all of you? You've done amazingly well. 2 hours, 20 minutes without a break or water? Honestly? No, really, bravo. Brava, bravi, I'm not, whichever. And also for all of you online, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for having me this morning. I learned a tremendous amount, as I always do. I'll be popping into the parallel sessions, and then I'll be bossing you all around again for the ribbon cutting. All right? Eat well, drink well, get some air, chat. See you later. No, I missed something. I missed something. What did I miss?
I think this is... One second, please.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Your patients, apologies for this. It's disruptive. It's not...
It's disruptive. What did I miss?
But we need to be disruptive.
Yes.
But I think this is the last time that we are in plenary all together here today.
Yes, it is.
So I think we need to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Driven us in
all
this
right.
journey here today.
Thank you.
So a big round of applause
Thank
to
you.
show your appreciation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Very good. There, I was properly surprised there, wasn't I? All right, now you're allowed to go. Thank you. Thank you very much.